Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bryce Patton, here with my co-host, Sid Roeder. How are you, Sid?
I'm doing great. How about you, Bryce?
Oh, I'm loving it.
You didn't call me wonderful today.
Oh, I am so sorry. The wonderful Sid Roeder. I am loving it. I love the fall. I just do. I like the cold air, everything. I know some people hate it, but I love it here in Cache Valley. So.
Oh, the colors can't be beat, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we have a wonderful guest again, Tracy Pharis. But before we dive into that, would you mind telling us about our sponsor?
Absolutely. Our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group, which is a group of professionals that have dedicated their time and effort to provide information to senior, their family member, and anyone who cares. And I will mention that Tracy Pharis with Blue Water Health Insurance is a member of this group. If you would like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And lastly, if you have any suggestions for this show, anyone you would like to see us invite, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406.
Do we need to have another call to action?
I think we're fine.
Phone calls? We're good.
We get phone calls here and there.
Okay.
We're in Cache Valley, so it's not like people call me all the time.
I just want to make sure. Well, wonderful. Tracy Pharis from Blue Water Health Insurance. Let's talk about health insurance.
Let's do. It's open enrollment time.
It is open enrollment right now. Before we dive into that, in case people have missed some of the other shows you've been on, would you kind of give a little background on why you do what you do?
Yeah. So been in the business for 13 years, and I love it. I love making sense out of a complex situation and a potentially very stressful time of life for people. I would not have used complicated a few years ago to describe health insurance, but I think that has changed with some of our legislative changes. And it has definitely become more complex. So I love taking something difficult and making it easy.
Yeah, last time we had you in, we talked about Medicare and the supplements and Advantage plans and everything. I always get very confused. So we don't step into the same track here again. What are some of the things you see every day when you meet with people?
Well, I think one of the things that I really wanted to talk about on this show today is an acronym called IRMAA, and it's IRMAA. And IRMAA stands for an Income-Related Modified Adjustment Amount. So as people are starting to consider retirement, this is a really important thing that they should know. Because sometimes we have control over income and sometimes we don't. So if you have some control over income, you are the person that wants to understand what IRMAA means and how it affects you. So for the average Joe who is married, filing joint taxes, as long as their income is below $206,000, and that amount does change every year, but right now it's $206,000. If that is your modified adjustment amount, then you're going to pay the same amount as everybody else for Part B. B as in boy. Part B has a premium with it. This year it's $174.70, and that does change every year as well. But most people, that's what they pay, $174.70. That is per month, and it's paid to the federal government. I'm talking about the people whose income is above that. So there is a range, but when you are up above $500,000, it will get significantly higher. This year, it's $594 per month versus the $174.70. So if your income has adjusted like that, it is significant and it will change your premium significantly. So it's not talked about, and I can give a couple of examples because that will be really helpful. And I'll change the name to protect the innocent. Let's say John is in the title business. Well, a few years ago, obviously, that looked a lot different than it does today, right? So John has his 2 best years making $1 million a year. But then the market crashes. And the next 2 years, John is not doing well at all. But Medicare will look back 2 years to determine your Part B premium. So in John's 2 leanest years, he was paying the Part B premium for his 2 highest earning years. So John reached out to me multiple times to say, this is killing me financially. These are my leanest years, but I'm paying a premium off of my highest earned income years. And unfortunately, in that situation, that is a story where we couldn't control income, right? So poor John was just stuck paying the $594 per month for his Part B premium. And incidentally, there is also an increase on the Part D premium. So in that scenario, he is paying over $600 a month just for Medicare Part B and D.
So I've got a question there. If that happens, is there any way to have some leniency in regards to that plan, or pay a little? I mean, is there really no contact point that you could owe that for a little longer, hoping that your income increases?
No, unfortunately. So the only time that I've ever seen it is, like, you can write a letter and ask for an exception. And the only time that I've ever seen that come to fruition is if it was like a one-time, an inheritance or a sale of a piece of property, not their earned income, but something that came up unexpectedly. That would be a scenario where and I'm not going to say that you would get out of paying that increase. I'm just saying that would be a scenario where you could potentially. But in John's scenario, it was his earned income. There was nothing that could have been done.
So with that, if people are concerned about what plan they're getting on and whatnot, is that just things they bring to you? Is that questions you ask?
Yeah. Yep. When we meet with them, we will ask exactly, and I do it broad stroke, right? I don't need to know exactly what their income is, but what I do say is, you're married. Was your income 2 years ago over $206,000? And if they say yes, then we kind of got to drill down on about what it was so that they know how much their Part B premium is going to be.
Is it always 2 years behind? Is that kind of what it is?
It is. And we can, in the next segment, we can talk about why that is.
Okay.
Thank you, Tracy. For our listeners, if you want to grab a pen and paper, we'll be sure to mention Tracy's contact info in the next segment. Right now, this is the Senior Moment Show. We'll take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
Did you know 10,000 baby boomers qualify for Medicare every day? Did you know that you'll start to get swamped with mail about Medicare 6 months before your 65th birthday? Did you also know it doesn't cost anything to use an insurance agent to help you navigate through all those offers? Hi, I'm Tracy Pharis with Blue Water Health Insurance. Let me help you understand all the offers you're receiving and find the plan that fits best for your situation. Call me today at 435-890-8155.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week. Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a pre-arranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts pre-arranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
And welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bryce Patton, here with Sid Roeder. And we've been speaking with Tracy Pharis from Blue Water Health Insurance with so much new information, stuff I hadn't even thought about. And if you have questions or anything about your insurance, Tracy, what's a good contact information or phone number and address where people might be able to get a hold of you if they have similar questions?
So my address is 74 West, 100 North, downtown Logan, and our phone number is 435-294-2161.
Oh, fantastic. All right, before the break, we had talked about why they look back 2 years on your financials for this one. Can you explain why they do it that way?
Yeah, so Medicare sends out a letter at the end of the year telling you what your Part B premium is going to be for the following year. Well, when you think about that, they go off of taxes. So at the end of the year, the most recent tax return they have was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So they look back in 2025. The letter is sent out at the end of 2024, but the most recent tax return is 2023. So that's why.
So that sounds to me a little bit like if you have fluctuating income, it might be wise to do maybe a little bit advanced planning, because on the other hand, what you're telling me is that if you have some lean years, which we discussed in the previous segment, and then you pick up again, you're again being looked back. So then your premium goes down again. So if you maybe knowing that your income fluctuates, potentially you can set some funds aside to cover that, correct?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's, this conversation is best aimed at those self-employed people who do have flexibility in income, and just kind of doing some strategizing, especially if you're close to that threshold, or, obviously there's, like we said in the last segment, there's times when you just can't control it. But here's a story about a situation where it could have been controlled. So I have a client that came to me just a couple of weeks ago, actually, and she went through a divorce. And in the divorce, her ex-husband was going to pay her for land. Well, he wanted to pay her over several years, which she agreed to because she didn't see anything wrong with that until we got to Medicare. And now it's high enough as a single person, because I told you $206,000 for a couple, but it's half of that for a single person. So the payouts on the property were higher than the $103,000. And so for the next, I think, 4 years until the end of 2027. So I think 3 years. For the next 3 years, she's going to be paying the highest amount possible for Part B and Part D.
Oh, shoot. Could she go back and renegotiate that with the husband and slice that into smaller payments?
Well, I mean, she did just kind of say, well, that was one more thing to just get kicked in the teeth about. But again, you just don't know, right? So hopefully this is educational for people. Her best scenario would have been to say, I want all the money in 1 year, because then she would have paid that higher premium, but she only would have paid it for a year. As it stands, it will be 3 or 4 years.
Now, if someone's towards that threshold and they're like, oh man, I'm coming up on my years that I'm going to be doing this, how can I plan for it? Do they call you, or do they need to call a financial planner? How do they go about doing this?
I mean, that's a really great question. In the broad stroke, we can help for sure, but anything that really comes down to the brass tacks of it, we're going to send them off to a financial advisor. And most people, by the time they are Medicare age, they have a financial advisor in place. And so we work, very closely with a lot of financial advisors here in the Valley to make sure that we're just helping and doing the best that we can to avoid situations like this if it can be avoided.
Yeah, it sounds like you need a whole team of consultants here with accountants and financial advisors and insurance agents to get through that stage.
You really do. I mean, it would be wise, because there are things just like this. It's just not talked about very much, but people need to know about it.
Are there any other stories, Tracy, that you'd like to share with us that might be educational?
Those are the two that I think really illustrate where you have control and where you don't have control. And but again, just your self-employed people, if you're going to sell land and that's coming down the pipeline, try to do it before the age of 63 if it makes sense. Just staying outside of that Medicare, look back.
Mm-hmm. So besides the finance area, I mean, are there other issues that you're running into as well that you see on the daily now that we're in the swing of things?
So one of the things that we're seeing right now, and this is kind of something that happens every year, and one of the biggest reasons why people should absolutely reevaluate, there will always be changes in networks, changes on formularies, changes with, hospitals that may or may not even accept Medicare or providers. So what happens in the Medicare world is that, Medicare as a general statement is not a great payer. And so some doctors, will just make a financial decision to where they just cannot afford to continue to take Medicare patients. They won't necessarily get rid of the ones that they currently have, but they may say, I'm not going to, take on anymore. So if that was your scenario with your doctor, usually they will send out a letter letting you know that, they're no longer going to accept Medicare if they were just getting rid of it. Or they'll let you know, as you're calling in trying to see them as a new patient, that they no longer take Medicare clients. The other changes that we see are sometimes even in hospitals. We're seeing this a little bit more and more where there's certain hospitals that aren't going to accept Medicare. We also see it on the drug side where there may not be a medication that was covered that is not covered going forward. But again, they would get a letter about that in the mail. If they were currently on that medication, they would be notified, hey, if you stay on this insurance, you're not going to have coverage for next year. So those are the biggest things that we've seen.
Thank you, Tracy. We have just enough time to mention your phone number and location one more time.
Yeah, it's 435-294-2161.
Thank you. This is the Senior Moment Show. Again, we are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's tough knowing how to care for an aging parent. Mom has always been there for me, but now I need to be there for her. When we found out she needed surgery, I wondered how I could attend to her needs and still be mom to my kids. I was so relieved to learn about transitional rehab at Maple Springs in North Logan. From the nurses to the physical therapists, it was like their whole staff was focused on helping Mom get better. Maple Springs in North Logan was an answer to my prayers.
Learn more at maplespringsnorthlogan.com or call 753-9400.
Did you know 1 in 3 people will visit a nursing home? Did you know that once there, they will stay there for an average of 3 years? Did you also know there are insurance options that can help cover this experience? Hi, I'm Tracy Pharis with Blue Water Health Insurance. It's not cheap to stay in a full-fledged nursing home. Long-term care insurance can help you or a loved one get the care they need and deserve. If you wait until you need it, you may be too late. Give me a call at 435-890-8155.
You have a lot of options when it comes to buying or selling a home. Do you list it online, sell it yourself, or do you have a realtor help? It's a major financial and emotional decision. A realtor is the liaison between buyers and sellers and really helps you navigate complex contracts, deadlines, and disclosures.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I work for you to get the best outcome for your situation. Let me earn your trust with a free consultation and a free market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
And welcome back to the Senior Moment Show, everyone. My name is Bryce Patton, here with Sid Roeder. And we've been talking with Tracy Pharis, our wonderful guest today from Blue Water Health Insurance. And she's been telling us all some fun stories. I shouldn't say fun. I should say
interesting,
educational stories. But we're right in the heart of open enrollment. And for those who might be examining their plan or thinking about that, what are some of the big changes? I know we've talked about this in prior shows, but you want to kind of hit on some of those bigger changes that have happened this year and what people might need to be aware of?
Yeah, so for 2025, big changes on the drug plan, the stages and the coverage. Just in a quick synopsis of it, people who have high drug usage, high medication usage, they are going to see a cost savings because the max out of pocket that they will pay in a year for all of their medications is $2,000. That is down from $8,000 this year. So that is significant. People who don't have high drug usage, they might see an increase because they're going to just right off the bat start paying 25% of the cost of the medication, whereas this year they've maybe had a small copay like $0 or $5. So depending on which bracket people are in is going to depend on how much they pay.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it in previous shows, but I guess what might take every time when we have you visit our show is that it's advisable to come in every year to revise the plan and see what's best to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. You know, just to continue status quo is probably not wise. I know it's simple, and a lot of times we don't like change, but if the change is a better change that enhances your policy, gives you more benefits, that is a positive thing for sure.
Now, is that hard to meet with you? I mean, I know it's not hard meeting with you, but I mean, if somebody doesn't want to leave their home, can you do a phone call or a Zoom meeting, or do they need to come into the office?
I am very flexible. I have clients that I meet in their home personally, one-on-one. We can do phone calls. That's not a problem. Or they can come to my office. But yeah, we try to accommodate everybody the best that we can.
Now, are you just Utah, or do you help other states as well?
I am licensed in Idaho and Utah both.
Okay.
That's great. And if listeners maybe been with a different agent and would like to review their situation with you, what kind of things do you recommend to bring for you to be best educated on how to advise them?
Yeah, I mean, we would for sure want to look at, who their doctors are, what hospitals they like to use, and then, of course, the medications that they're taking. That's critical, as every company has a different formulary to some degree or another. So, if we're doing our job correctly, we are looking at your medication list to make sure that you are exactly going to be in the plan that doesn't, create any issues in your medications. Occasionally we have to change a medication, but that I try really hard to avoid that.
Now, if somebody's been going to their doctor midway through the year and they change medications, does that throw things off for you or for them?
Not usually, and that's a really good question. It doesn't usually throw things off. The only thing that might come up is Medicare. The rules of offering a drug plan is that they have to at least cover one medication in each category. So maybe your doctor, says, we've got to put you on insulin now, and we want you to be on Toujeo. Well, maybe Toujeo isn't covered on your plan, but Humalog is. So that would be the only scenario where they would want to reach out to their insurance agent and say, hey, my doctor just prescribed this. Is it going to be covered on my formulary? Unfortunately, the drug plan cannot be changed in the middle of the year. So at that point, we want to be looking to make sure that we have you on a medication that is covered. And then that would be another really good reason why we would want to review that policy at the end of the year during open enrollment.
So is there sometimes also maybe a call to the doctor to see if there is a different medication that could be used?
Yeah, sometimes that's exactly what they have to do. If they call me and say, hey, he wants me to be on this blood thinner, and I say, that one's not covered, but this one is, and usually it's just a quick call and the doctor's like, yeah, no problem.
I know that happens quite a bit over at Reed's Pharmacy. They'll call and be like, hey, this one isn't. So they'll actually call the doctor themselves and say, hey, can we swap this over to something that's covered by the insurance? And it's usually pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, it's not usually a hard thing at all.
Sadly, we're already at the end of our show here shortly, Tracy. For anyone who has listened and is interested to review their plan with you, what's your contact information?
Yeah, so our address is 74 West, 100 North, downtown Logan, and our phone number is 435-294-2161.
Thanks for coming in, Tracy, and educating us again. This is the Senior Moment Show. Again, our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about them, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com. We're at the end of our show. We hope you tune in again next week.